Hey guys, my name is Nora Franche, and welcome to the podcast Grateful Blessed Mess, daily reflections for those in the 12 steps. I am a fellow 12-stepper and certified mindset coach, and I am here to introduce you to the value of mindset coaching in your 12-step journey. So if you feel like you are stuck in the steps, if you're slipping and sliding with your abstinence, mindset coaching may help you as it did me, and you can find me at catholicmindsetcoaching.com. These episodes are meant to invite you in to consider the truths of 12-step wisdom and to join in the very real struggle of living them in action. I hope that it feels almost like a mini meeting, and I invite you to contribute your own share on the Grateful Blessedness Facebook group to keep the discussion going. My comments are based on my own experience, so feel free to take what you like and leave the rest. But my hope is to encourage you on your own daily 12-step journey. As they say, you cannot stay clean on yesterday's shower. So without further ado, let's begin. Hey everybody. We are reading from A Day at a Time, February 29th. Just for today, I'll not be afraid of anything. If my mind is clouded with nameless fears, I'll track them down and expose their unreality. I'll remind myself that my higher power is in charge of me and my life, and that all I have to do is accept that unending protection and guidance. What happened yesterday need not trouble me today. Do I accept the fact that it is in my power to make today a good one just by the way I think about it and what I do about it? Today I pray. May I make today a good day. May I know that it is up to me to assign to it qualities of goodness through a positive attitude toward what the present is providing. May I be untroubled by vestiges of yesterday. Please, higher power, remain close to me all through this day. Today I will remember to make it good. Okay, so did you know that you are the one in control of your thoughts? Did you know that? Did you know that if you're having thoughts that today is going to be terrible, that it's going to suck, that you have all this dread, that once you are aware that you're having those thoughts, you have the power to change them. So you have the power to decide whether or not you're going to have a good outlook on your day or not. And it doesn't feel like it a lot of the time. I think that we get stuck because we're like, but it just feels that way. It's so strong. And it's really helped me to be coached through many of those things because I'll get to a new thought. We call it a bridge thought. It's not like today's going to be a great day because your brain's like, I don't believe you, shut up and go away. But we get to the point like, okay, well, I can see that this thought isn't serving me, because when I have a thought that this is going to be a terrible day, or this is going to be uncomfortable, or this is going to hurt, or this is going to be really difficult, we just kind of tense up our bodies and our minds about it. And usually what ends up is that, we end up having the day that we are anticipating we're going to have. And sometimes it's just because it's going to be a hard day. Other times we actually make it harder and more uncomfortable and more difficult because of the way that we are approaching it. And a lot of that has to do with things that you can actually control. We just aren't taught this. We don't know that we can actually have the ability to, but actually it's our responsibility to change the way that we are thinking about something. If once we identify that a thought isn't serving us or isn't good for us or isn't useful, we have to step in. That's what it is to be like an emotional adult. Okay, responsible for your thoughts and feelings, because they are the immediate indicator of what your actions are going to be, and your actions affect everybody. Not just you. And so that's why it's a social responsibility. It's a moral responsibility, because it ultimately affects how you show up in the world. All right. So talk to me if you're confused about that. I would love to have a conversation. So it says here, just for today, I'll not be afraid of anything. If my mind is clouded with nameless fears, I'll track them down and expose their unreality. That's so good. And yes, that is what I've learned how to do as a coach. That is what I've learned how to do in my own personal thought life, but also in listening to and working with others is to track down nameless fears, expose them, and call them out in their unreality. I did this recently with someone. They were afraid about making an error about in their performance at work, about like, I'm going to mess up. And it was causing them to lose sleep. And I was like, okay, like, let's just go through like worst case scenario. You make a mistake. You make a big mistake and you say something you shouldn't say in front of a room full of people. What are you going to do? What happens after that? And the person was able to name what they would do. And then we went to the last time this actually happened. And we like qualified it with like a pain number, like 0 to 10. How much do you hurt? And they were able to be like, well, okay, that was actually only like a 5. And that was the worst case scenario that I'm freaking out about. That's keeping me up at night, that I'm losing sleep over. And like, okay, so do you want to continue to lose sleep over and like stir up all these emotions over something that's a 5 out of 10? Or maybe after talking some more, we can get to a place where you can be like, okay, well, I've dealt with this before. And then it's just not so scary. Not as scary, not so scary. It's really incredible. It says here that we have our mind gets clouded with nameless fears, and that's absolutely my experience. They're nameless. And when something doesn't have a name, when we haven't identified it, it has a lot more power over us. It is incredibly powerful if you can say, oh, I'm afraid of this, this, and this. And all of a sudden it becomes much less cloudy, and you're able to clearly say what you're afraid of, which actually makes it less scary. This is what I've learned, and I've experienced it myself. It makes it far less scary, and it actually gives you it gives you power over something when you can name it. So am I afraid of being rejected? Am I afraid of being hurt? Am I afraid of looking a certain way in someone else's eyes? What are you afraid of? And then we can put it in, like the judgment seat, and we go through the prosecution trial and say, is that true? Is that 100% true? And you can say yes or no. For something to be true, it has to be true 100% of the time. Otherwise, there's an error there. And so if it's not true 100% of the time, we try to get to that error where your mind can finally go, oh, I was making that a lot bigger than it was. Or if it is true, then we get to a thought that's more helpful and more comforting, like, hey, I'm in the process of coming to grips with this diagnosis. I'm in the process of learning how to love someone who, can be very challenging for me, or something like that. And so we get to a new thought, something that you can write down on a piece of paper and remind yourself about and pray with every day, till you can get to the point where then you can get to the next rung on the ladder. And rung by rung, to that fully opposite belief of like, this is going to be a great day, life becomes a little less scary and a little less overwhelming, and you become the one in control of your life. So if that interests you, reach out. But as always, I love you. Have a great day. Keep on listening. Go to the Facebook group and check it out, and keep the discussion going. With that, I pass. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you feel that mindset coaching could help you on your 12-step journey, please feel free to reach out and find me at catholicmindsetcoaching.com. But more than that, it's important to me to give listeners like yourself a place where you do not need to feel alone on your 12-step journey. And for that reason, I've created a Facebook group. It's called Grateful Blessed Mess. And it's a place where listeners can go to add their own commentary on the share for the day, in addition to my own, and for us just to have a conversation or start a back and forth where people can find support in their 12-step journey. This is not a replacement for 12-step work. This is something outside of the 12 steps. It is simply something that has a heart for the 12 steps and those who are in it. And so, welcome. If you're here, chances are you may also be a bit of a mess. And I hope that you can learn to find some gratitude in the blessings that have come from your messes.